Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whichever you may be watching this video during. I'm Mrs. Schuver, and today we're going to start our introduction to integers. And before we do that, we need to know what our whole numbers are. So you've been working with these for a very long time, so you're probably more familiar with them than you think you are. So we're going to start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we could continue this forever. So we're just going to put dot, dot, dot to indicate they go on forever. And whole numbers are complete numbers, not parts of numbers. And we need that definition because integers are defined as whole numbers and their opposites. Whoop, get my marker back. And so we want our opposites. So what are opposites? Well, opposites are the same distance from 0 on the opposite side of 0. So it's the same distance from 0, but just on the opposite side. So let me move this over, and we're going to try now doing what they request. They'd like us to plot 8 and its opposite. So in math, when we're asked to plot something, that means to place it a little point on that number, on the number line. And because it also requested its opposite, we're going to go to -8. And if we look at this, it makes sense that 8 is 8 counts away from 0, and -8 is also 8 counts away from 0. It's just in the opposite direction. Next, they're going to start us with a negative number. The negative number is -6. So we're going to plot -6, and they want us to plot its opposite. So its opposite is on the other side of 0, so that would be +6. And again, they're both 6 counts away from 0. It's just in the opposite direction. So hopefully that definition makes sense. Now you're going to notice on the number line that if you look, 0 is the only number that doesn't have an opposite. In fact, 0 is considered its own opposite. So if we were to fold the number line in half, 0, part of 0, 1/2 would end up on the other half of 0 to complete it. So now, if you'll take a moment, can you please list the opposite of the following integers? So on your piece of paper, if you don't have this number line with you, if you would take notes and list for me the opposite of the following integers. When you're ready, restart this video. All right, well, you'll notice if they give us a negative, then we write a positive. And I want to acknowledge that we don't usually put a positive or a plus sign, what looks like a plus sign in front of a positive number. It's just considered positive if we don't see a sign. However, negative numbers, we have to have the negative sign to indicate that it's a negative number. So the opposite of +37 would be -37. And the opposite of 489 would be -489. And the opposite of -124 is +124. So next, we're going to try to compare and order integers. So this says the furthest a number is to the left of 0. And let's remind ourselves what left is. Left goes this direction, left. Well, it turns out that the further a number is to the left of 0, the farther it is out, actually the smaller the value is. So this doesn't seem right, but -100 is smaller than -50. And then the further a number is to the right of 0, so let's draw a little helper for the right. Right is this direction. The larger it is. And we're used to this. This would be true with our whole numbers. If I would say 100, 100 is much further away from 0 on the right-hand side, and it is indeed bigger than 50. So the tough part about integers, particularly the negative side, is the negative side of the numbers behaves in exactly the opposite way of the positive side. The numbers get smaller the further we go from 0. And you can probably see that on this number line here. It looks like these numbers are getting bigger, but they're actually getting smaller. So if you think of this as you owe somebody $1, you owe somebody $2, you owe somebody $3, you actually have less money in your pocket the more you owe. Or you can think of a loss of 1 degree or a loss of 2 degrees. It's getting colder and colder. Or a loss in yardage, more. So whatever helps you think about these is getting smaller. That's a loss. Next, we're being asked to use the number line below to plot each of the following numbers. And then after we plotted them, they want us to put them in order from least to greatest. So we're going to start with 9. So I'm going to plot a point on 9. Then go to 0. Then -5, then 1, and finally -8. So the beautiful thing about plotting them is I can read it from left to right, and I can see that -8 is the smallest or the furthest to the left, followed by -5, 0, 1, and then finally 9. So these numbers are now in order from least, smallest, to greatest, biggest. Okay, and one more thing we want to do for today's lesson, and we'll save this bottom part for tomorrow. So last thing we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the greater than symbol or the less than symbol to compare the integers. And I need you to recall what these symbols mean. So if I look at this, it is bigger. If I see this opening right there, that's bigger. So the number has to be greater or bigger on this side. And the number, because there's this little tiny point, that's a small end. And so the number has to be smaller or lesser. So this would be the smaller number on this side. We call this symbol greater than because we see the big part of the symbol, the open end first. So the reverse of that is here I'm seeing this little tiny point at this end, and that's going to be the lesser number or the smaller number. So whatever is on the same side with the point, that's the smaller number. And then here I see the opening or the bigger side of this, and so I want the greater value or the smaller value. So as we look at this, if I looked on the number line, and we can use it above, I see -2 here, right here, and I see +7 here. So the further a number is to the left, the smaller it is. So this is the smaller number. And here, I see -9, which is right here, and I see +3. Again, this negative number is furthest to the left, and it's smaller. So this would be read as -9 is less than 3. And then finally, they give us +5 and -1. Since 5 is on this side, I want my open end of my inequality sign. So this is bigger and this is smaller. So this would read 5 is greater than -1. All right, we're done for today, and we will continue with this tomorrow. Have a good day.